Those in favour?
Aye.
Are there anyone opposed? Kia ora, thank you very much. Right, we do need to move an extension of time. Do we?
No, we didn't start till...
Oh no, we started quite late, so we don't. So mentally, mentally I feel like we need an extension of time, but no, we're fine. Okay, so we'll move to item 11, and sorry? All right.
No, Councillor Turner.
Hang on a second, Councillor. So there's a chair's rec here, but I'm just wanting to say that this is the report that's come back. We'll get Warren and Raymond to come to the table just in case, and Luann as well. We've added a C, which IMSB have said is appropriate, and they agree with that, and it helps cover some of the concerns that were brought up last time. But Councillor Turner would like to move, and Councillor Henderson would like to second. But I'm just double checking with Councillor Turner and Henderson that you're all right with that C there that Councillor Dalton and I requested. We couldn't get that advice last time, so I think we've come to a much better place on that. But
just wanted to speak to it though, but I will.
Cool. So we just might have a brief introduction from Megan first.
Kia ora, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, if you recall at the last committee meeting, we considered this matter, and we have represented this to you this month. There is no change to the report in front of you. So just confirming there is a legislative requirement under the specific act for the Rangers to do a 5-yearly monitoring report, and this is what this is. It is factual. It's not an implementation report. It's not a financial report. It's not a prioritised report. It sets out facts, and you are asked to adopt it in the legislation. And so, we're in breach of legislation if we don't. So, a number of the comments last meeting were quite appropriately, some challenges or concerns about maybe what we are doing or not doing in the ranges and for the people that live there and the environment, and that's all valid. But for the purpose of this monitoring report, we're asking you that you accept what we've done and that you approve it through. The implementation of that through many parts of council and into the community is something quite different, and that can come up in various ways, whether it's through this planning committee or in other committees, or through the work that you do in your communities. As the Chair has said, we have been speaking with the Chair and Deputy Chair, and they have put up a Chair's rec, which has been moved and seconded, and it relates in particular to the discussion about the deed of acknowledgement. Staff are as disappointed and concerned as tangata whenua and others around this table around the lack of progress on that. And we've been working internally in the last few weeks, and Luann Ballantyne is here and will lead the work with, in this case, Ngāti Whātua and Te Kaurauamaki, and we will report back to you at the end of this calendar year. Thanks, Mr. Chair. We're happy to answer questions if required.
Cool. Are there any questions? No. Councillor Turner, you have a question before you speak? Yeah.
Sorry, for my understanding, I really just wanted to speak to your amendment. I don't know where it comes to a question or not, or whether I offer an amendment to your amendment. But if I can make my comment when you're ready, then you can lead me from there.
I get.
Maybe ask a question.
Yeah, so maybe just a question for now, because I guess that's what I was checking. You're okay with it.
So I'm happy with the report. It's changed very little. In fact, so little I could hardly find it. But I do understand what it's there for, and I do know that the people who wrote it understand the West. But what I'd like to just speak about is the addition of C. I have no problem with the addition of it, but I do note in the Act that the purpose of the deeds of acknowledgement, the only purpose of the deeds of acknowledgement, are to identify the opportunities for contribution by tangata whenua, people of the land. It can have multiple deeds of acknowledgement with tangata whenua. So I just note things like the Sprague family, who donated the and I'm going to pronounce it wrong, so I'm getting scared. So they did a peninsula on the Manukau Harbour, and they've got a monument on that to their son, and it came with clauses which said that that monument has to be kept visible from all points of the compass, and they also gave significant ground up in the Waitakeris themselves that they had freehold European title of, which is now called Spragg's Bush. So I'm just asking, is there opportunity for a deed of acknowledgement with Pākehā?
Through the chair, if I can respond to that. So section 29 of that particular act does specify that the deed of acknowledgement is to, in part to recognise the relationship of tangata whena of the heritage area, and then it says namely Ngāti Whātua and Te Kawerau Maki.
But it doesn't rule out people like me who are born. I think I looked it up on my Maori dictionary, and I've asked to make sure Mr. Taipuri's online. It says, you know, people that are born in the place. I was born in the place, and I've done a whole bunch too, so can I be acknowledged? And my descendants, who some of them have Maori ethnicity now?
I refer back to the legislation. It does say namely Ngāti Whātua and Te Kawerau Maki.
I've got the legislation here in front of me. It doesn't rule out Pākehā, right?
You're a native.
Okay.
I wouldn't like to speculate on that, so, but I just will kind of refer back to the legislation which says namely Ngāti Whātua and Te Kawerau Maki.
So I've made my point and I leave it there, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And we are very specifically talking about, and that's why I checked if you were okay with the addition, because it is very specific to mana whenua, as in our Indigenous. But it doesn't, this discussion doesn't preclude other agreements and relationships as you speak about with people who've donated land over time and things like that. There's a very different process and issue through the legislation. So there are parameters.
In my naivety, reading this and the words that are written here, it doesn't say that to me. But I'm just making sure. I have no problem with a deed of acknowledgement with Te Kawerau Maki or the other Ngāti Whātua, but I just want to make sure that you know, we're moving forward in partnership. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Right, I'll go to, let's make sure that, oh, sorry. Councillor Henderson, did you have any questions on the monitoring report? Sorry, I know that you were, cool, thank you. Right, are there any other speakers you'd like to lead off, Councillor Turner, or do you feel you covered?
I feel I've been heard, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Henderson, would you like to say anything in relation to the report?
I'm pretty glad we've got C.
Sorry, you just might want to repeat
Pretty
that.
glad we've got C in there, Chair. That's a good advance.
Kia ora, thank you. And just again want to thank the staff. Thanks, Luann, for coming. That's a great outcome that we will be able to progress. It's quite separate to the monitoring report, but it is mentioned, and it was a significant concern in the last meeting that we haven't progressed that with mana whenua. So I really, really appreciate that, and appreciate all the work the staff have done on this monitoring report, which will help actually lead to changes in funding and bids through the 10-year budget as well, because it gives us a good picture of the issues that we face, keeping in mind it doesn't include anything that happened in 2023, which has escalated or changed some of those issues quite significantly. But thank you very much, and I won't say we'll see you in 5 years, we'll see you soon. Thank you. Right, all those in favour?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll have that down as being carried unanimously. Thank you. Right, we lead on to, where am I? I'm in the wrong, I've timed out. I should just read what's in front of me. Item 12, making the operative private plan change 76, Kohi in Eastern Pukekohe.
Did you want to put them both, these two? Because
Yeah, we might be able to procedurally do both at once, is that right? Because they're both making plan changes operative and at the end of a process, we may just put both up at once due to the time constraints we're in, and we'll just go straight to questions. Is that okay, staff? Not undermining or devaluing any of the work you've done here. But Councillor Baker would like to move both of these items. The seconder, Deputy Chair, Councillor Dalton. and just see if there are any questions. It's all fairly straightforward, so thank you all. Sorry that you've waited so long for that, but yeah, really appreciate the work done on this. Thank you. All those in favour? Are there any opposed? Perfect. Thank you. We'll move to item 14, the summary of Planning, Environment, Parks Committee information memoranda and briefings. Move. Councillor Leone, would you like to move? Second, Councillor Baker. Are there any questions? Thank you. All those in favour? Any opposed? No. We have no extraordinary business. And we'll close with a karakia. Unuhia, unuhia, unuhia. Ki irutapunui, ki wātia, ki māma, tinako, te tinana, me te wairua, i te ara takatu, kuia rā e rongo, whakairaria, aka ki ronga, ka tina, homie, huie, tai kia. Well, thank you all. That was, we surprisingly didn't go to midnight after starting so late. So I appreciate all the focus on today's items, and go home and be merry. Thank you.